1959, they upset Batista's government. The revolution was headed most notably by Fidel Castro and Ernesto Guevara, known as Che. The team of Barbudas, which took power, put an end to the excesses the city had known with the Americans. First driven by nationalism and socialism, then later in 1961 by Marxist and Leninist ideologies, the new government took control of the country's economy and put an end to the privileges of the rich. The Jose Mart Memorial in the huge Revolution Square is a tribute to the man who was father of the country. This 19th century writer fought Spanish rule and founded the Cuban Revolutionary Party. He was killed in 1895 in a battle against Spanish authorities. Though the square was built by the former dictator Batista, it became famous through its use by Fidel Castro when he made his explosive speeches. Large, unadorned buildings, including the Central Committee of the Cuban Communist Party, now rise around the square. An enormous portrait of Fidel Castro's loyal comrade Che Guevara is erected there as well. Today, the loyal and uncompromising Che has become both hero and symbol of the revolution. Castro's revolution was not only nationalist, as had been previous revolutions, but was also a humanitarian and social revolution. For the first time, the Cuban people and their living conditions became a major concern to the government. In 1959, the new government reduced rents and developed educational and health services that became a model for other third world countries. As the population grew, new housing projects were undertaken and Havana grew. The tall buildings lacked the charm and style of the old colonial villas, but the objective to provide affordable housing was met. Overall, the 30 years of Castro's rule shows positive aspects. Even certain capitalist countries who normally are skeptical of Cuban government admit that the country's progress has been significant. The public health system is as good as that found in the United States, and Cuban hospitals offer good quality care which is free of charge. Illiteracy has virtually been wiped out in the country, and school attendance is mandatory and also free of charge. However, with the growing economic difficulties for many Cubans and the unending American embargo which stems from the superpower's hatred of Castro, many Cubans today long to see the departure of the man they once hailed as a national hero. It must be pointed out, however, that when the Barbudas took power, American investments on the island went sour. The embargo which followed in 1962 pushed Cuba, for better or for worse, into the arms of the other great power of the Cold War, the Soviet Union. Since the collapse of the Eastern Bloc, Cuba, the only socialist bastion in the entire Western Hemisphere, has faltered. The effects of the embargo can readily be seen by the cars which are still used, big American models from the 50s, Dodges, Chevrolets, and Buicks. It's as if time has stood still, for Cuba has imported very few Western cars since that time. Anyway, the Cuban man in the street couldn't afford one. The new models you see are usually government perks. The most coveted prize for a Cuban is the workers' symbol imported from Eastern Europe, the Lada. However, there is no more gasoline arriving from behind the old Iron Curtain. So even though the cars are in tip-top condition, they guzzle gas in a country where there's very little gas to be guzzled. Looking on the brighter side, Havana is one of the few major cities with almost no traffic jams. Bicycles are everywhere. Public transport is always full. So these old limos earn their keep as tourist taxis during the week and transport the owners' families to the beach at the weekend, where they can forget their daily toil for a few hours.